Welcome to Cloud Infrastructure Services YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to show you how you can set up a Docker Compose server on Ubuntu hosted on Azure. So simply click the link in the description box to come to this marketplace listing for Azure, and from here you want to create a new virtual machine with this particular image. So simply click on Get It Now, and then you need to click on Continue. And then from this product page, simply click on Create. After that, you would be brought to this page from where you can customize your virtual machine. So simply choose the subscription that you have, and then choose a resource group by either creating a new resource group or by clicking an already existing one, and then give a name to your virtual machine. So I'm going to call this one as Docker. After that, choose the region where you want your virtual machine to be deployed. After that, choose the image that you got from the link in the description box and choose the size of the virtual machine according to your requirements. And for the authentication type, you can go with the SSH public key authentication, or you can go with the password protected authentication. For this tutorial, I am going to go with the SSH public key authentication. And then give yourself a username. So I'm going to call mine as CIS. After that, this is a very important setting. So you want to allow certain inbound ports. So as you can see, the SSH terminal runs on the port number 22. But I want to allow TCP inbound connections as well, so that I can view my web application on the browser. So I'm going to select HTTP as well. If you're planning to deploy HTTPS authentications as well, then you need to tick mark this as well, and then when you're satisfied, simply click on Review plus Create. After that, a validation process would start. Once the validation is complete, simply click on this Create right over here. This time around, it is going to prompt you to download the private key and create resource. So click on it and download the private key in a secure folder, because this is the private key that you would be using to connect to the SSH terminal of your virtual machine. After that, you simply need to wait for the deployment process to finish. Once the deployment is complete, the next step is to access the SSH terminal of your virtual machine. So for that, simply click on Go to Resource and then click on Connect and choose SSH from the drop-down menu. On this page, you can see this command. So copy this command and paste it inside the command prompt or a PowerShell, and replace this private key path for the path where you have downloaded your private key. After replacing the path for the private key, simply hit enter, and when you're prompted, type in yes and hit enter once more. After that, you would be able to log into the SSH terminal of your virtual machine. Now, the very first thing that you want to do inside the SSH terminal is to start the services of Docker. So for that, type in the command sudo systemctl start docker. And by the way, there is a link in the description box for the step-by-step blog post guide on how to set up Docker Compose on Azure. You can find these commands on that blog post as well. After that, you want to run another command, which is sudo service docker start. After that, we can run a basic docker hello world command by using the command sudo docker run hello-world. So what this is going to do is that it is going to first look for hello world locally, but when it doesn't find that locally, it is going to download the template and run it. So this is the message from Docker. So basically we can conclude that our Docker is running perfectly fine. Now to verify the installation of Docker Compose, we have the command docker-compose -version. As you can see that our virtual machine is running Docker Compose version 1.27.4. Now what I am going to do is that I am going to deploy a simple web application by following this documentation from the Docker itself. You can follow along with this tutorial, or you can just click the link in the description box to come to this documentation and test it out yourself. This whole process is going to be time-lapsed for you. Now in this Docker Compose YAML file, as you can see, it says ports 8000 is being redirected to 5000. Basically what is happening is that in this test application they are using Flask, and Flask runs on, or I should say listens on, the port number 5000. So what they're doing is that they're just simply redirecting the connections coming on port number 8000 to 5000. But while creating the virtual machine, we chose port number 80 for HTTP requests. So I'm going to change it from 8000 to 80 and then simply go along with the documentation. And then finally, after using the docker compose up command, I'm able to deploy my web application onto my virtual machine. Now after the whole process is done, I can simply go back to portal.azure, and from here I want the IP address of my virtual machine. So I'm going to click on overview, and then I'm going to copy this public IP address, and then I'm going to paste it inside a new tab and hit enter. Now as you can see, I am running a web application that counts the number of times it has been visited or the website has been visited. So if I refresh, it changes to 2 times and then 3 times and 4 times. So that was it on how to set up Docker Compose on Ubuntu hosted on Azure, and I have even shown you Docker Compose for deploying a web application. So if you have any queries regarding this tutorial, make sure to leave that query in the comment section down below. And make sure to check out the link in the description box for the marketplace listing for Docker on Azure Marketplace and for the step-by-step blog post guide on how to set up Docker Compose on Azure. And if this video has helped you in any way, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.